This is a Headgum Podcast.
You're listening to the Morning After Podcast.
Would you do a show set in like Antarctica and it's like cold season?
Yes. Is it LA for Antarctica?
Nope. It's Antarctica. It's Antarctica for LA.
Trickier.
What like would you not specifically Antarctica, or
question.
what would you do for a certain amount of money? Like I had this
not even for art, just for cash.
Just for cash. I had this conversation with Nick Cage on we're shooting something right now, and I was asking him about like, because he's notoriously like a larger than life guy.
Yeah.
Spender.
You know? I asked him, I said, would you do, I forget what it was, like a TV show that you just absolutely hated? Like everything about it was just dog shit. But would you do it for $5 million an episode? And you're shooting 25 episodes a season. He was like, it's a lot of cash. But he said, no. He's like, I lived that life already, man. It was fun, but I'm over that.
But I love that there was a period in which he would have done it.
Oh, yeah. Like there's got to be for everybody. That's what I mean by, would you go to Antarctica if they were paying you some like obscene amount of money per episode?
You know what? Here's the thing. I love a good life experience.
Mm-hmm.
So like the idea of maybe doing like a season of something in a place I would otherwise never go to, as long as it wasn't like pure donkey shit.
Yeah.
There was like something rewarding about the script, then I would consider it. But there's a mantra that someone once told me to live my life by that sadly I do and I wish I didn't, which is there's 3 areas that you need to ask yourself before you take on a project. And if you can answer 2 out of the 3, you should do it. You can only answer 1, you shouldn't. First is it going to change your life financially? Second is it going to change your life creatively? Meaning, is it going to put you in a stratosphere that would be like a game changer, right? And then the third is it going to challenge you as an artist? If you can only answer 1 of those, don't take it. You can answer 2 of those, you're golden. It's why I don't work. It's why I have time to do this podcast.
Hey, we appreciate it, man.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I would rather do this
We love that you're chasing money
and fall on my sword than actually take cash.
This is going to change you creatively. So there's one.
This is
monetarily, maybe not so much.
I already feel like this has been a stretch for me.
Wait, have you guys seen the, speaking of when Cage was like in his element, his late night appearance where he runs out, he's in a leather jacket, he does a flip on stage, does like a karate kung fu chop, then starts throwing cash out into the crowd.
I want to watch this.
What?
All before he sits down to do his interview.
Is that right?
Oh, it's real.
Well, I could tell you, my daughter is always singing the snowman song.
You don't even know his name, do you?
Yeah, I do. It's I know the words. I know the words. I know the words to the song.
I love the snowman. What is it? What, Frosty or Jimmy?
It's a German name.
It's Olaf.
Olaf.
Never been described to as the German.
Isn't Olaf German?
Well, sort of. I think Scandinavian. But Olaf, that's a German name too.
Yeah, Olaf is very German.
What if I had played him German? That would have been a choice.
That would be wild.
Yeah.
People would
Anna Elsa, come here now.
But no, she sings it religiously.
Oh, okay.
And she's a newer generation fan.
How old is she?
She's 4.
Oh.
She's 4. And when I say like she has the dresses, if we're in the car, the rule is nothing, what do you call it? Franchise related on the way to school. So because there's
such a rule.
Well, it's her school.
Franchise
related. Well, because what happens when they get to school, like when they're trying to do their school based songs, my daughter's like, fuck that. In summer. And she's just like going for it. And
so no Wicked, no Moana.
No. So she on the weekends, absolutely. And we cheat all the time. However, it's like right before school, no, I'm getting that out of your head. This is a distraction.
My kids have had me listening to it's a problem when you hear the first like chord and you can name the Taylor Swift song. So like that's the point that I'm at where like I can just take you through the Swift library, the Sabrina Carpenter you want to know about a Charlie XCX song? I got the scoop for you. My 10-year-old daughter is full on into Kendrick Lamar, which makes me very proud.
I do want to talk about you brought a gift.
Yeah, thank you.
I did.
You brought a gift.
I haven't read it yet. I'm not sure how it is.
Ghostwriter style. Now, in Gad We Trust,
Yes.
a tell some. This is awesome. So why a tell some? You didn't want to spill the tea about it.
Didn't want to talk about my new girl experiences just yet. That's going to be its own book. I only have some to tell, right? I was approached about writing a book and sort of laughed at it. Like, who the hell am I to offer anything to any reader? And then sort of started to sit with the assignment and kind of like freestyle write. And I was more of a therapy exercise than it was anything else, where it was like, oh shit, there's a lot that I've never unpacked. And I get paid to do it now instead of paying a therapist. So this feels like a sort of a better version of it.
So I don't
therapy in a mirror, I call it.
So I don't want to spoil anything in the book. I
live.
You live. You survive.
Wait, what?
I survived.
I mean, this is only part one.
But this is part
3.
1. Yeah.
There's still time. Some scandals are brewing. No, but is there anything you can hint to in this book that
is going to get me canceled? Sure.
No, not like canceled, but like potentially, like on the
or is there something that you completely forgot about that then when writing it, you're like, oh my God.
No, there were definitely some things that I'm like, look, I'm not the kind of person who's like, I write a book and TMZ is like, oh, Josh has done it. He's really gone after this person. But I do tell some funny stories about, like, there's a great anecdote in the book about Jeff Goldblum, which is one of the weirdest experiences I've ever had in my life, where one of my favorite actors of all time. But I arrived in LA and this girl who had graduated the year before me from Carnegie Mellon is like, hey, I know you don't probably have much going on this week, but do you want to come and chill with me and my boyfriend? And that's all she said. And she gave me an address, which was like up in a place called Mount Olympus, which is where gods live.
Yeah, I guess so.
And Jeff Goldblum. And so I arrive without knowing who her boyfriend is, and he opens the door, and Jeff and she are standing in matching bathrobes. And he's like, oh, hey, come in. And so I came in, and we proceeded to like sit in this weird triangle of like these little cushions. And I was on like this weird little cushion and just staring at the two of them. And then he engaged me in a game of Meisner, where we started to like act back and forth. And at the end of it, he goes, that was very good. Do you want to audit my class? And I was like, I just spent close to $100,000 on conservatory. So not right now, but maybe in the future.
Well, at that moment, were you in awe of Jeff Goldblum?
Oh, I was like, this is the coolest dude alive. And here's the thing. I'm still not at the place in my career where I feel comfortable answering in a bathrobe.
Yeah.
Like answering the door for a stranger in a bathrobe, you have to be so confident in yourself.
Yeah.
And like, he was like, I've been the Fly and Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
I can do that now.
Wow. That's it. I wouldn't do that. I don't think I have bathrobes.
Yeah, those bathroom stories usually go another way.
Yeah,
I'm glad it didn't go that way.
I was intrigued about what was being suggested. That same week, this was all week 1 in LA. I was in a coffee bean in WeHo with my dear friends Bryce and Seth. And I see Robert Downey Jr. And I'm like, and this is pre-Iron Man Robert Downey Jr. And I am obsessed with his performance in the movie Chaplin. I think it's one of the greatest performances ever. Charlie Chaplin is a hero of mine. And so my friend Bryce goes, you gotta go tell him. You gotta go tell him. Like, tell him you're a fan. And I'm like, can you do that? She's like, yeah, you can totally do that.
It's allowed
like,
in the bylaws.
So I go up to Downey Jr. and I start talking about Chaplin. And we have the most profound, beautiful conversation. 5 minutes long, us talking, me telling him like, kid is like brilliant because Jackie Coogan is this, young actor, the only person who could go toe to toe with Chaplin. I was talking about like modern times and like lesser known stuff like the circus. This has been everything I dreamed Hollywood would be. And we get to the front of the line and he looks at me and he goes, I forgot my wallet. Can you spot me and get my drink?
It's pre-Iron Man money, right?
That was pre-Iron Man.
Yeah, pre-Iron Man money.
Oh, he didn't have the cash.
Yeah, pre-Iron Man. But yeah, post Ally McBeal.
Yeah.
So you would think he would have had some of that Ally McBeal cash on him.
Wait, have you seen him since?
I've seen him. I've never had the courage to sort of be like, you with interest, you owe me quite a bit of money.
I'm just saying. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He is Dr. Doom. Like, I'm sorry, there's got to be a co-lead in that movie.
No, it's true. I should. I haven't had that courage yet that someone like Jeff Goldblum has when you enter his home.
So quickly, the first celebrity I saw when I moved out here. So
I'd love it if it's me and I was a dick to you.
No, so when I first moved out here, I had an internship and I was living with a family friend. They lived in Brentwood. They took me to that Katsuya in Brentwood. And, I didn't really know what the vibe was there. So I wore like a black button-down shirt and we sit down. And as I'm getting up to go to the bathroom, in walks Michael Bay. And I'm like,
wow.
Oh shit, it's Michael Bay.
Yeah.
I love like all his movies going back to The Rock,
Great movie.
And I see Michael Bay and then like right behind him, like floating are clearly just two ladies of the night with him, like linked arm in arm. And I'm like, now at this point, I'm very close to like we're really close. And he looks at me and I guess maybe because I had a black button down on, he was just like, yeah, we just need a table for 3. And I was like, yeah, just that I just pointed him like towards the table.
You went with
I just played, dude. I pointed him to a table and then I dipped around the corner and went to the bathroom. Yeah. And that was the first celebrity I met I guess.
And Michael
met.
Bay still talks about how that was the single worst service he's ever had. At any rate. It was like they didn't even know I was there.
Welcome to another episode of The Morning After. I'm Lamorne. To my right, as always, is Kyle, the legend Shevrin. Today, we have a very, very, very special guest. Once played a German in a cartoon.
That's right.
Called Frozen and Frozen 2. Please welcome New Girl's finest, Josh Gad.
Das ist nicht gut, Anna. Thank you. New Girl's finest.
Whatever people from whoever like, made an appearance on the show.
My 2-episode arc on New Girl was...
Dude, you know what's crazy about that? You like typically... You would do a guest star on something, or you do a couple episodes, even a recur, and it could be a great experience. People could really love it. But after like 5 or 6 years, after the show's off the air, it goes away. You do other jobs. People talk about the other projects, or whatever the case may be. New Girl, because of the pandemic, came back as if it were a new show.
I actually just talked about this. They're doing a New Girl book, and someone called me up and interviewed me. And this is true. There is not a day that goes by in my life in Los Angeles where somebody doesn't scream, not Olaf, the German, not Elder Cunningham, not any of my roles, Bear Claw. They scream Bear Claw at me. And I'm like, dude, really? Bear Claw? And my niece and nephew, who are both in college, they have watched New Girl multiple times all the way through, which is like, along with Friends and The Office. Yeah. Like that trio of shows is one that I think these kids just come back to again and again, because I think they're so, in many ways, obsessed with the kind of like last vestiges of like a true rom-com that isn't dependent on technology, if that makes sense. It's almost like an analog show where it's like people falling in love without apps.
Yeah.
Which is like a very novel thing for a generation that doesn't have that relationship.
Yeah.
That sort of old school relationship of falling in love.
And I think it's also during a time where folks were still, especially during that time, you know, money was low for a lot of different people. People were shacking up with different people, rooming here, rooming there. It was a time where people had to figure out their own individual communities and tribes, right?
Yeah.
So New Girl was that thing where you could, where we all lived together, you could identify certain characters. That's why people do scream Bear Claw. It's a very memorable, you know, character. You know, people scream all kind. My character on the show was so stupid. He had like different personalities, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, people would scream out, yo, shrimp forks. And I go, I don't have, I guess they are pretty skinny. You know what I mean? Like, so I do think they identify with individual characters, and it was highlighted in their own personal lives during that time.
Yeah.
You know, and streaming is just, I don't know. It took things
It's
to a
also
whole new
a great
level.
show.
No, it is.
It's a great show.
And from someone not involved, like from a complete fan, there's like a fun innocence to that show that you can just put it on at any time and enjoy story, character, jokes, like there's heart. Yeah, it just had everything.
One of the highlights of my life is when
I did the show.
when you did the show.
Thank you.
That was the highlight of my life.
Appreciate it.
2, when my daughter was born.
Yeah.
No.
That's second. Okay.
No, but I was at a party once and Diana Ross was there.
What?
And she was, I was with my daughter. It was like at her son's house, Evan Ross. And I'm freaking out. And she comes over to me and she talks about how much she loves New Girl. And I was like, really? You watch the show? She goes, it's just the right amount of vulgar. It's not like over the top vulgar. She was like, old lady like me, I get to watch it and enjoy it. And I put it on. It just makes me smile.
Yeah.
And I was like, holy
That's incredible.
shit, Diana Ross, man.
The best is when that group of like clearly older women in Vegas came up to you. It was like, Josh, it was like a group of maybe 7, 8 grandmas and we're like freaking out. It was just such a weird dynamic.
I fucked all of them.
That was his first 8. What's an 8-person orgy? Yeah.
So we wanna get into some questions with you.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Now
We're not wasting any time other than the 20 minutes it took us to intro the show.
Yeah.
People love that. People love that.
People love it.
Yeah,
they love
people
just shoot the shit, talking about nothing. So we do this thing on the show where we poll the fans.
Okay.
Right? We sometimes poll them individually. Sometimes we poll them together. But this time when we polled them, we were screaming your name.
Okay.
And they wrote in questions specifically tailored to you.
Scared.
Okay, question number 1.
Yes.
If you were given a time machine but could only travel back to embarrassing moments from your past, would you use it?
Wow. Embarrassing moments in my past.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I would use it.
Yeah.
I think that those embarrassing moments helped like make me who I am.
Yeah.
So I sort of look fondly back at some of those. One of my more embarrassing moments, this is a true story. I got, let's say, super fucking wasted one day in my senior year of college.
Been there.
My buddy Rory O'Malley and I had a bottle of tequila. We're like, let's do some shots. We're going to do this thing called convocation. We come out, we do this sketch for the school. I had just come back from studying abroad in Australia. I was supposed to be a surprise. Like nobody from the school knew I was back. And so he's like, let's do a shot. He went into the bathroom and then half the bottle was gone. And that's when I realized I have a problem. But that night I pissed my pants while professing my love to somebody from high school on the phone. Just cold called her and was like, I love you. And my friends are like, are you pissing yourself right now? I went into my buddy's room and he's like, I think you just need to lay down and chill. And I'm like, yeah, I don't think I feel great. Can you get me a bucket? And he comes in the bucket and I turned my head the other way and threw up on his bed instead. I go out on stage for this convocation and I'm supposed to come down in high heels and we're doing like a kick line impression of one of our teachers named Ingrid. and I fall down the stairs. We get on the stage and then we're supposed to light candles for people who are no longer in our class, including Josh Groban, who left our freshman year. And it's supposed to be like a very sincere, sensitive moment. And I blow out the candle and go, fuck Josh Groban. There's only one Josh. I was a monster. But yeah, I would like to go back and see that day.
Oh my God.
I want to play that day out.
And none of this is any of this on camera? Did they record any of the?
We didn't have cameras back then.
God damn it.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah,
I would have done anything to be there.
it was pretty wild.
You raise me up. Is that Josh Groban?
Fuck Josh Groban, man.
Yeah, yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, I've had some pretty embarrassing moments. None as chaotic as that.
That was one night, man.
That's what I
That's
mean.
crazy.
Like,
One night. And by the way, and the kicker is after pissing myself, vomiting myself, I had a threesome that night.
Wait, what? Way to bury the lead,
That
Josh.
is how the night ended.
Way to
Yeah.
bury the lead.
That's
that's why you want to go back.
That's the embarrassment I'm willing to live with to just get back to that moment.
Oh my
Yeah.
God.
Yeah.
You had a
Wow.
threesome that night?
That night.
Dude, that needs to
Yeah.
be a movie. That
I
whole night
know.
should just be a movie.
It was a pretty fucking crazy night. Yeah. It was a pretty crazy night. And
like-
this is why, kids, you should go to drama school.
Oh God.
Yeah.
People I'm a theater kid and you know, musical theater and all that stuff. And I remember all the stigma against like theater kids, like that we were like dorks or something.
We can be
I was,
wild.
like, crazy as fuck.
We were fucking wild.
We were wild. When
Yeah.
I remember watching American Pie when she goes, one time in band camp, I stuck a flute in my pussy.
Yeah,
I go,
that's theater school.
that's theater school.
I also had the most fucking incredible class. I mean, my class was, I said, Josh Groban, Rory O'Malley, who was in Book of Mormon with me. Fucking Leslie Odom Jr. was in my class.
What?
Yeah. The seniors, when I was a freshman, were Joe Manganiello, Matt Bomer, fucking Cody DePablo.
It's like a Hall of Fame of
It was crazy.
Wait, where was this?
Carnegie Mellon, Pittsburgh.
Holy
Yeah, we had a crazy school and small, like very small, but like supercharged.
When you hear stories like that, that's when I wish I could go back in time and then be like, I'm trying to go to Carnegie Mellon.
Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah.
Like, these people, they cranked out like
It was crazy.
Hall of Famers.
It was
Yeah.
crazy. We were very lucky.
Well, but listen, I'm not ashamed where I went. College of DuPage. Shout out to
Yeah,
College of DuPage.
come on, man.
You know? Shout out. You got a question?
Yeah, I got a question for you. Boys, if the three of us started a boy band, what would it be called and who would be our fourth member?
Oh, man. It's a terrible question.
We know Josh Groban.
No, fuck Josh Groban.
Yeah.
This is a running joke between Josh and I.
Oh, yeah. It could be the Gad Band. It could be
Ooh, yeah,
the
like
Gad Boys.
Gad Boys.
Gad Boys.
Yeah.
What
Gad
you
Boy
gonna,
for
Gad
life.
Boys, what you gonna do?
Yeah, Gad Boys. Gad Boys.
What you gonna do?
So we just do covers of real songs, but just insert Gad for rhyming
Yeah.
words.
Yeah, unless you feel like writing all
Like-
the new lyrics.
No,
I
this
could just
feels
use
easy to
old-
me.
We
yeah.
could do Gad to the Bone.
Yeah.
Oh,
Gad.
yeah. Gad to the bone.
Gad. Gad to the bone.
We're not going to sell albums, it sounds like, but
No.
man, we're going to make headlines.
Yeah. Oh my God. We'll be all over TMZ. Sure. So the Gad Boys.
Yeah, and
Gad Boys.
once we go on tour with Creed, it's a wrap.
Like
we're doing stadiums.
until our sort of like Oasis reunion tour 40 years from now, where like we all make up.
I know you're a singer, but have you ever had like a band that you were have you been in a band?
No.
Oh.
I am not a singer. I wish I was a singer. Like, yes, I've been on Broadway and yes, I sing in movies, but that does not make me a singer.
Get the fuck out of here.
That is, I'm sort of ashamed of my voice.
I haven't been on Broadway. Okay. I'm not
Yes,
doing
but
it.
like, if you've seen me on Broadway, I'm not like doing like, it's not the kind of shit that you're like, God, I've got to listen to this for the sound.
It's no
You're
Jonathan
doing
Goff.
it to just probably laugh at me.
Okay.
So like, you know, I've always wanted to be like a Meatloaf style singer. I fucking like kind of in another world. I'm killing it as a Meatloaf knockoff. But in this world, not so much. But I would love to be in a band. Someone call me up and just let's do it.
I think it could happen. I see a lot of
Could it?
actors. On 30 Seconds to Mars.
Mm-hmm.
Mike told Jared Leto he could.
Somebody did tell that to Jared Leto.
And he out there killing it.
He is.
You know?
Russell Crowe.
Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
Kind of like Kiefer
But don't they all
Sutherland.
play instruments?
Keanu Reeves
I think
has
so.
a band,
Yeah, he
I
does.
believe. Yeah.
So do you play any instruments?
I don't.
Me, I think we're the same at this point. Now I think we're the same. You're
Nope.
right. I just need to do
don't.
Broadway.
I don't. In fact, I was fired by my piano teacher at 10 years old.
Wow.
Yeah, which I don't think is something that usually happens when
Yeah.
you're paying somebody to teach you.
She's like, nah, this kid is stupid.
Yeah, this is a dumb kid. No, I wish I was in a band. It just sadly never happened until
New
Gad
chapter
to
in
the
your
Bone.
book. Yeah.
Gad to the Bone. Coming to a city near you. Check out our dates.
Yeah.
What's one food or drink that you refuse to share with anyone?
Oh man. I would probably say like, don't fuck with a good burger.
Mm.
Like
Yeah.
if you're coming at me and I have a burger in my hand, that's not meant to be split. It's not meant to be like, you can't take a bite. I can't
No.
like, it is a pet peeve when someone's like, hey, can you break off a piece of that burger?
Oh,
And you're like, no, the burgers don't come in pieces.
Yeah.
It comes as a burger. It's not a fucking.
My hands are all over this thing.
Yeah, it's
For me.
It's a very intimate
Yeah.
meal.
Oh, do we have someone you would hate to have lunch with?
Our dear friend Alicia Renee.
Yeah, friend of the podcast.
Friend of the podcast.
She's a burger.
We call her the corner queen.
Oh no.
She's always like, just let me get one corner. Just get a corner of that.
Leisha's Corner.
No.
Leisha's Corner.
Alicia's corner, man.
Yeah.
Stay off my corners.
How are you about, like, I get the chicken sandwich, you go burger, we go halvesies, so we can get
That
two
I'm
dishes.
cool with.
Are you cool with that?
That I'm cool
But
with.
you got to talk about it in advance.
yeah,
gotta
so you're
talk-
a
you
split
gotta
person.
talk about it in advance.
We can split.
And you better make sure that they're equal in size. If you fucking cut me a smaller piece of your portion,
Yeah.
we're gonna have words.
We're going to have beef.
We're gonna have beef or chicken. Yeah, that's a problem.
For me, it's the perfect old fashioned.
Mm.
I love an old fashioned, especially when they make it the right way. There are places who make a shitty old fashioned. So when I get like a shitty one and someone's like, oh, let me taste it. I'm like, yeah, you can try it. But if I have a really good one, I take that first sip. I'm like, this is pretty good. And if
And then
Alicia's
somebody-
there, she's like, oh, let me try a sip. I go,
Nope.
no, order one.
Yeah,
This is mine.
that's right.
This
Yeah.
is rare.
My wife hates me for this because I will always, when she orders a good drink,
Mm-hmm.
I'll down like half of it in one sip. You're like, oh, I should have gotten that.
It's like,
Yeah.
my bad. My
yeah,
bad.
my bad.
If you could turn one classic film like The Godfather or Casablanca into an animated comedy, what film would you pick and which character would you like to voice?
Oh shit.
Yeah, let's go. We're getting
There's a
deep.
great fucking movie called Defending Your Life that Albert Brooks
Mhm.
stars in.
Okay.
That would make a great animated movie, I think. And I
Guys, check it
would
out.
play the Albert Brooks role. Great movie. You've never seen Defending Your Life?
No.
No, I've never seen it.
Guys,
Spending your life.
do your fucking work tonight. It is a perfect movie.
Huh.
Yeah, he basically, like, spoiler alert, dies
Fuck you.
and then goes and he has to sort of like put his life on trial,
Whoa.
and he needs to prove to a group of judges that he is worth moving on and not having to get his life right again. And he falls in love with a character played by Meryl Streep. And it
Ooh.
is such a funny, brilliant movie.
I got to check it out.
It's brilliant.
It reminds me of a play I did called History of the Devil. You ever heard of that play? History of the Devil. I forget who wrote that. But it's about the devil. He's on trial and he has to look back at his life.
Oh, that's great.
And he has to go through these different points in history
Yes.
where he fucked something up and he has to like explain himself.
Oh, I love it.
It's a great play.
Clive Barker.
Clive Barker. It's a great. I want them to make that into a movie. I'm not sure if they have.
What's the weirdest or most creative gift you've ever received or given?
I got a gift from Dame Judi Dench that
what?
said, back up 6 inches, Josh Gad. That is the greatest gift anyone's ever given me. And that came from the first, we did a movie together called Murder on the Orient Express.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Nobody would approach her. It was like the cast of the century, everybody's a superstar, and everybody's equally like intimidated by Dame Judi Dench. And so finally, like, it's like 5 a.m. We're on the makeup trailer. It's silent. She's got her head back and she's resting as like her makeup is being done. And I look at Daisy Ridley and I go, watch it. And I just go up to the side of, had never had a conversation with her. And I walk up to her ear and I go, Dame Judi Dench. I'm like, damn. And she was like, she took her eye mask off and she goes, oh, I love you. And so like, this just became a running joke. Then it turned into a backup 6 inches throw pillow. So that was the most creative gift
He
I've
told you to
ever
back up
received.
because the part he's leaving out that he might have in his book is that he did fuck her.
Another threesome, Josh?
With Dame Judi Dench and damn Judi Dench.
Another one. That's the one. No, and then the most creative gift I've ever given, I can't think of one offhand. I know I've given really creative gifts, but I'm like struggling to remember one.
Do you ever hear the George Clooney, Richard Kind gift story?
No.
Apparently George Clooney, I don't know the man, never met him, but apparently he's really good at pranks.
Yeah, this I've heard.
Yeah. And so there was a story about him with Richard Kind's his best friend, apparently.
Yeah.
And
That is an odd couple, man.
I know. And so apparently George finds some like beat up old painting literally in rubble, like in trash or something, and has his people take it and put like a nice frame around it and wrapped it up and gave it to Richard and said that it's some very like expensive painting. And he put it over his fireplace. And apparently he's had it up there for like a decade. And people would come by and he would tell them the story. Good friend, George Clooney gave me this painting. Got to be worth this, it's whatever. And then finally one day over drinks, George was just like, you know, I found that in the trash. Like 10 years later.
I love that. I love that one.
But I feel like at that point, then the painting's value goes up.
Of course.
Because the story's in
The story
you can't
has
put a
given-
price on the story.
Well, I always have this sort of thought about art, which is like, I guess it's like anything. It is so funny because we simply just put the value on it.
Yeah.
It is a completely subjective, made up idea where we look at something and we go, yes, this is worth $600 million.
Yeah.
The arrangement of paint on this canvas.
The only thing I can justify paying that, like, you know, absorbent amount of money for is something that's really old. Like if it's like clearly hundreds of years old, then I can go, all right, at least I have this artifact. But if it's something some new artist painted and he put like some gloss over it and he had a cool party and he shows up at his art event, he's still got paint on his suit. And he's like, look at me. I'm like,
So
I need
you're really
$20.
you're only in like for dinosaur bones at this point.
100%.
Like you want your fucking Triceratops collection.
Dude, if I had
Circling
that,
back
what?
to Nick
Tell me
Cage.
shit, dude.
That brings us full circle to Nick Cage owning dinosaur skulls.
Does he?
Oh, he owned one at one point when but then he found out that it was stolen from Mongolia and they needed it back. So
Mongolia needed it. They were like,
he lost
you don't
out.
understand. Mongolia won't function without this dinosaur skull.
And he had to give it back
All of
to him.
Mongolia is going to collapse.
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, didn't you tell me the story about Clooney and the cat prank he pulled? Have you guys heard that one?
No.
The cat prank.
So-
I heard about it, but
So he was like babysitting his friend's cat for, I think it was like a week or something. And every day.
Well, can we just stop for a second and just admire the balls on whoever that friend is? It's like, hey, George, we're going out of town. Can you, George Clooney, babysit my cat for a week?
George, every day when the cat would use the litter, would clean it up and then report back to his friend and go, hey, dude, I don't know what's going on with your cat, but like he hasn't used the bathroom today. And the friend was like, what? And then the next day, day 2, he did the same thing. Then day 3 did the same thing. Now we're on like Sunday. And his friend's freaking out because his cat hasn't like used the bathroom yet. George, before he leaves his friend's house, takes a massive shit in the litter. And when the friend comes home, he's like, what the fuck did my cat do? I think that's telling me. I think
God
it's true.
bless George Clooney.
Oh, man.
Oh, I heard a even crazier one. Why?
George Clooney.
These must be a little bit true. Because I heard a different story.
Or do you think these are all apocryphal and like George Clooney has never done any of this?
Possibly, like Chuck Norris, like when he does push-ups, the earth moves. Like he does.
Well, that's fact. Come on.
Yeah, that is fact.
But there was one I heard that he was being. I think he's from some small town in Kentucky. I want to say, and they wanted to honor him with a parade, key to the city, and name a street after him. And he said, "Does such and such? Let's just say it's Johnny Jones. Does Johnny live on Mayberry Street still in that town?" And they were like, "Why?" And he's like, "I'm just curious. Does he still live on that street?" And he said, "Yeah, his house is over here." And he said, "Okay, well, I want you to name that street Clooney Drive." And he's like, "Why?" He's like, "We're giving you Main Street. We're giving you the main road that goes through our town." He said, "I'll come back. I'll do the parade. I'll take the key to the city. I'll do anything you want. You just have to name Mayberry Street Clooney Street." He goes, "Why?" And he goes, "Because that dude used to bully me in high school so much.
Incredible.
So now when he goes, he signs any paperwork or whatever, credit check, he has to put, I live on George Clooney Drive."
I love that. That's Batman, guys. That is Batman.
Oh my gosh. I want that to be real so bad. What was your favorite book as a kid?
I love The Giving Tree. Like if we're talking like early kiddom, that book just like really resonated with me. It's the first book that I actually like vividly remember feeling like, oh my God, like books are really powerful. You know, I loved Mark Twain as a kid. By the way, speaking of Mark Twain, have you guys read James by Percival Everett?
No.
Oh my God.
Yeah, a lot of homework.
Best book of the year. Best book of the year.
I gotta read it.
So
Gad We Trust first.
it's told from the perspective of Jim. And it is one of the most brilliant books you'll read. It's an absolute, there it is. It's an absolute masterclass. The book that fucked me up the most as a kid was a book called Johnny Got His Gun, which is, if you've never read it, don't. We read it in like 5th grade, and it was a book about a guy who loses his arms, legs, torso, tongue, hearing, and eyes. And they were like, "Here, kids, take a look at this book."
What was left?
Is it just his head?
Yeah, there it is. Johnny Got His Gun. It's a brilliant book, but man, that messed me up. Bridge to Terabithia messed me up as a kid.
You know what book messed me up as a kid? The Bible.
Yeah.
That book has full of some dark stories, man. I was like, I'm glad I don't live back then.
Old Testament.
All these people being smitten.
Yeah,
or smiting.
Old Testament. God is on it. The Old Testament is the equivalent of like an ancient John Wick story.
Yes.
Where it's just like vengeance.
The amount of revenge.
And just revenge.
Oh my God. Yeah, that messed me up as a kid.
Harry Potter, dude. That was the first. When I read Sorcerer's Stone or Philosopher's Stone, depending if you're in the UK or whatnot, I could not put that book down.
I was a senior in high school. My girlfriend at the time she was like, "You got to read this." I'm like, "These books are for kids. I'm not reading this." And I will never forget sitting outside. It was summer. I was laying outside in South Florida, and I blew through Sorcerer's Stone in one afternoon. And then immediately went out and got the other 2 books. I was like, I need to understand where this is going.
Wait, okay, so you have to settle something for us. Our it's a pretty so far it's pretty one-sided debate.
Okay.
But what it is.
There was a very antagonistic look just shared, by the way, for people who can't see.
So you've got the Harry Potter books, you got the Harry Potter films. Which would you say is more important?
The books.
Thank you, Josh.
It's not even like, why are we even asking that question?
Josh, thank you.
This isn't even like this shouldn't even be a question.
Thank you.
You should have your podcast stripped from you. The movies are great, but they are approximations of the books. The amount that's actually left out of the movies.
What do you say to the illiterate man? What do you say to R. Kelly, who's in prison right now, can't read, but he could just watch?
Does he not have access to Audible?
In prison? Probably not.
Well, I love that they're like,
that's on him.
You can't have
that's
Audible,
on him.
but you can have this DVD collection.
Well, because it wasn't so one-sided, but a lot of folks were saying the movies helped the popularity of the books more than more than.
Dude,
Okay.
the books were I was trying to tell him because he hasn't read the books, and I was trying to tell him in real time when the books were coming out, it was a phenomenal. Like there were lines outside of Barnes and Noble around my whole fucking mall where
it was
like
the biggest
people
thing
in
on
costumes, like it was wild times.
When Deathly Hallows came out, it was the biggest event.
Dude, it was the biggest thing of all time. It was crazy, and like I'd never seen anything like that for.
If J.K. Rowling stopped doing whatever she's doing and started if she just decided to publish a new Harry Potter book, it would break.
Dude, I have the entire series signed by her because I would go to that Barnes. Her press tour, she would stop by my local
They're
mall.
masterpieces.
I get it. Because you guys.
I feel like you don't.
Like I get it. This isn't like this is like saying you've got COVID. I get it, but there's no but. You've got it or you don't. Like there's no negotiating the result. Like what are we talking about here?
But I would say this. The only reason why I'm interested in reading the books is because I saw the movie. I thought that was cool.
Yeah, but couldn't you say that about anything that you like?
No.
Okay, Lord of the Rings.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I experienced those movies before I read the books, but I would never have the gall to say they're better than the books because J.R.R. Tolkien is one of the greatest writers of all times. And just because the movies are perfect, they're perfect because the books exist and the books are perfect.
No, I wouldn't say that because I know some directors who I worked with before. If you made them direct Lord of the Rings, that would have been some straight to Tubi bullshit. Okay?
Oh, 100%.
It also takes a great director.
100%.
Yeah, no. Shout out Peter Jackson.
It's very hard to, I would say the strangest example of this is Game of Thrones. There's not another example of a show finishing the story or a movie finishing the story before the books, right?
I see.
Where you're just like, okay, so that you can have a debate because it doesn't exist, right? There's this empty sort of where is the story going?
Mm-hmm.
And that last season of Game of Thrones, I mean, we don't have to be on record saying, but they didn't have the precursor of the book.
Yeah.
And I mean, just public opinion.
It's tough.
People didn't enjoy it. People didn't like it.
My problem with it wasn't the story choices. My problem with it is it felt like it was rushed.
It was a
everybody
rush
was
job.
like, we got to be done.
Yeah.
It was so
100%.
rushed. Wasn't there coffee cups and shots and shit like
There
that?
were coffee cups and shots.
Water
but it was
bottles.
more like,
it was like, oh, this is a complete rush job.
I honestly think that the biggest problem I had with that season of TV is that the brilliance of that show is everything took effort. Meaning, in order to get from point A to point Z, in many cases, it took 5 or 6 seasons. And then in that final season, people are Ubering to through Westeros. They're just I'm going to run the length of where people have taken years to get to.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it in 2 episodes.
Yeah.
And that, I was just I don't get this.
Yeah, and that was disappointing for Game of Thrones fans because I feel like there was probably an open checkbook for that last season, and they just came back and were like, oh, we're going to do, what was it, 6 episodes or 8 episodes? Whatever.
But I still will say it's worth the frustration because the rest of that series
it's unreal.
is one of the greatest things to ever exist.
Oh, yeah.
It changed TV forever, and it is a masterclass.
Game of Thrones is is right up there at the top.
Same.
Sopranos
it's easily
is
top 10.
Entourage.
Sopranos.
Game of Thrones could have been number 1 had it stuck the landing.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's the frustration.
What do you have as number 1?
It's probably a tie.
Okay.
Mad Men
Mm-hmm.
and Breaking Bad are probably tied for number 1. Sopranos would be 2.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
There isn't a bad episode of Mad Men or Breaking Bad. If you go back and watch the season, it's a no-hitter. It's a perfect game. There's one kind of episode of Sopranos you'll get, which is kind of it's good. It's good. Otherwise, it's brilliant. The Wire.
I'm going.
What are you throwing in there?
Breaking Bad
Yeah.
at the top for me, and I would say I'm trying not to include sitcoms, but I kind of have to.
Seinfeld.
Yeah, I grew up on Martin, and
Martin's great.
to this day, every time I put it on, I watch it, I'm in tears laughing at how ridiculous that show is. So I'm going to go Martin.
There's a heartbreaking one in there because honestly, you have to separate it, but Cosby Show was a perfect show.
Oh, yeah.
With a very imperfect lead. And it's like, what do you do with that show now?
Yeah.
It's like,
I say we keep watching them. Just get those other actors residual.
Yeah.
They should be paid for how great that is.
I gotta throw season 1 and season 2 of Prison Break in there. Shout out Michael Schofield, Lincoln Burrows.
Coming back.
It's coming back.
I am so excited.
Prison Break's coming back.
Season 1 and 2 of Prison Break are unreal. Like if you haven't watched it, guys, go back and
Golden
watch.
Girls?
It's unreal.
I would even put Entourage up there for me. I didn't know anything
Perfect show.
Well, here's why I put it up there.
Did you watch
Here's why I put
Entourage
it up
all the way through?
there. Yeah. Here's why I put it up there.
This is
here's
problematic as your Harry Potter take.
No, here's why I put Entourage up there. It's because I wanted to be in this business, right? As a kid, I'm an actor. I didn't know anything about it. So it gave me an inside look at a weird scope of it, which wasn't accurate. It wasn't, it's to tell it's heightened reality, I guess. But I would look at certain things and I would go, oh, he actually has. So I guess there is a guy who would like be his boy who would handle certain things for him. And I didn't realize that. Or there is a person who, who's in his circle who isn't quite the talented person as he is. So it's his brother and he's just happy to be along the ride and it's their relationship and the ups and downs of how you deal with your manager, your agent, your publicist. It's all heightened. But when I was a kid, I looked at it like I was watching Lifestyles of the Rich and Famous. I was like, Jesus, this is super fucking cool. And then all the celebrity cameos, my favorite athletes would be on the show. And I'm like, oh shit, this person's in that episode. That's pretty dope. Obviously, when I get a little bit older and I start experiencing the life or the business and I go, but looking back, the nostalgia of it all.
It was fun.
Love that show. The intro song when they would pull up in that car.
It's a problem to me that you said Entourage before Cheers or I Love Lucy. Like Entourage is Entourage is good. When it was first going, great. Yeah. Then it became a cartoon.
When Vinny became like the cokehead and all that, it just and he was like dating the porns. It just got a little but it was really
Larry
fun.
Sanders Show.
Yeah,
I don't think I ever dove too far into the Larry Sanders Show. I was Martin, Jamie Foxx, Fresh Prince. Like I said,
Fresh Prince is a perfect show.
Those shows.
SNL, would you put SNL up there?
I would. Actually, I would. SNL to me.
Simpsons?
Yeah.
Star
I was
Trek?
more of a South Park guy.
I love
Simpsons,
Star Trek.
Next Gen.
Yeah, it's
a
so
perfect show.
good. It's so
30
good.
Rock, though.
30 Rock is a brilliant show.
30 Rock is a brilliant show.
30 Rock is start to finish a perfect show.
I want to say 30 Rock was the first show that I bought the collection and would just binge it, watch the outtakes, anything Tracy Morgan was doing.
In Living Color? In Living Color was like a game changer for me because I was just like, oh, you can do this on TV? Like SNL was sort of like, it was the PG version of what In Living Color gave me as like a kid growing up in the 90s being like, oh shit.
But not in the beginning. SNL in the beginning, they were pushing it.
Oh yeah.
They were really pushing it. They would drop the hard N-bombs. They didn't.
Oh my God, Richard Pryor episode was one of the greatest episodes of TV.
Oh my gosh. Fun fact, Richard Pryor and Garrett Morris did not get along in the beginning.
Really?
Garrett Morris is, original SNL cast member. And Richard, when he was going to come on the show, didn't really want to do it because he felt that Garrett, these words, he felt Garrett was Lorne's nigga. That's what he would say.
Really?
He would call Lorne racist for hiring just one black dude. He would
Wait,
call him an
who
Uncle
would?
Tom.
Richard?
Richard. And he didn't. And then it wasn't until later in life where Richard realized he was incorrect.
He was wilding
about
out.
that Garrett was just really talented and Lorne was the furthest from racist. And that Garrett had done so much to push the culture of black folks, desegregating unions, doing all that stuff. He had the FBI would raid his theater troupe based off of the type of content that he was putting out. And Richard had no idea that any of this was going on.
Incredible.
So it wasn't until later on he was like, I apologize. And then put him in a movie. Became friends.
Wow.
But in the beginning, it was not so friendly. Yeah.
You guys have not seen Saturday Night? Check it out.
Can I just take
right
a
now.
second and just say that is one of my top 3 movies of this year?
Oh,
It's,
dude.
go.
it's incredible. You're
Thank you,
right.
man.
Incredible.
Thank you, man.
Truly.
Shout out to Jason Reitman.
Jason's a
Gil
genius.
Keenan, yeah.
Josh, before you go, we have a game we're gonna play.
Haven't we just been playing a game this entire time?
A little bit.
Some say.
So far, you're winning.
If you guys really had balls, we would have done the intro right now. Like this would have been the moment to intro the show an hour and 1 minute into this bad boy.
We do a game where we learn some old timey slang.
Okay.
These are all real words and phrases,
Great. I'm
and
gonna
we're trying to
fail at
guess
this
what
game.
they mean.
Okay, great.
So the first
And you
one-
guys haven't had...
No, we don't know
I
them. No.
But this
Only
is the
these
pre-
guys know them. Yeah. First one is, can't you feel the shrimps?
Okay. Can't you feel the shrimps? That means you're in some sort of small aquarium and it's cold, man.
Oh,
You have your hands are so cold because the water's freezing. And somebody who cares about you is trying to test if you still have feelings.
How are they testing you, Josh? To see if
And
you
he's
still have
saying, to
feeling?
you, he's saying, Josh, man, I know you're cold, but can't you feel the shrimps? I know you're losing your sense of touch because it's so chilly in this small aquarium.
but can't you?
But can't you feel the shrimps?
I'm gonna say it is like, don't you get what the cool kids are listening to now?
Can't you
Like,
feel the
don't you-
shrimps?
Don't you
man?
understand it?
Can't you feel the shrimps, man?
But why shrimps?
Because kids are considered shrimps, right?
Yeah.
They're always like, man, get these shrimps out of here.
I feel like, can you feel the shrimps? It maybe can like nerves. Like, can you feel the nerves in the room or something? I don't know. Like,
Something
can
tells me we're
you feel the shrimps?
all incredibly wrong.
Yeah.
Well, Robbie?
Josh is actually kind of close. It's the smell of the ocean, the smell of the sea.
Oh.
I knew it.
Can you, it was like
I
literal.
was just
Can
off
you-
by one aquarium.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're.
I had to think broader.
Yeah.
I want to know something.
Mhm.
Who the fuck said, can't you feel the shrimps? Where did you find this?
Sailors.
Was it like
Sailors?
one guy who was having a stroke on a boat and just couldn't say, can you smell the ocean?
An author was there
and
and,
it
he
was
wrote
like,
it down.
can't you feel the shrimps? Help, Michael. Something's wrong with him.
Captain's log.
Yeah.
The shrimps are
Imagine Roy
feeling.
Schneider instead of saying we need a bigger boat says like, can you
Can't you
feel the
feel the
shrimps, man? Like, that movie would suck.
Cut a finger.
Cut a finger.
I'm like,
I feel like I know
get
what
some
this
shit
is.
done. Like, let's go. Like,
Cut a finger. Cut the
finger?
tension in the room, maybe. Like cut a finger.
I'm gonna say play the guitar.
ooh,
Oh.
oh, that's a.
I've got blisters on my
Yeah.
fingers.
Cutting the finger.
I've got finger I need to cut, man. Can you cut a finger?
Put a condom on that
Are
finger.
we going to record this thing? Are you going to cut a finger? No. Sam Mendes, please consider the three of us for your new Beatles movie.
Yes. We are the Beatles. We are the Gad Band.
This is the Gad
We are the
Band.
Gad Band from Liverpool.
Cut a finger.
From
What is it?
Encino.
It's to cause an unpleasant odor.
Oh, so maybe like fart?
So you guys were just like looking up, give me some old timey slang for shit that smells. Like oceans
That's
and
today's
like
theme.
farts and
Yeah.
That's the
Cut
theme
a
today.
finger?
I love it. Cut a finger.
Cut a finger. Back in the old
Wow.
days, I knew some women that cut some fingers.
I feel like your uncles would always make you pull their finger.
I'm just saying, every time I'd be like, is it the
mind
Really?
the grease.
Can't you feel the shrimps, man?
Can't you feel the shrimps?
You never want to be in that
this
scenario.
boat?
I know.
Mind the grease.
Mind the grease.
Oh boy.
Maybe you're excusing the fact that you are dirty or
That's, yeah.
with whatever fucking rabbit hole you guys were going down, you smell like shit and you're apologizing for it.
mind the grease.
Mind the
brother.
grease. I haven't cleaned up today.
I like
Okay.
that. I like Josh.
Yeah, that one seems pretty. But like if you walk into someone's home and you go, mind the grease.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's like it's a little watch your step.
I think we're spot on.
Dirty in here.
This is actually if somebody's like walking in front of you, you're saying, "Let me pass, please." Excuse me.
Oh.
That is not what that means.
Where is this from?
This,
This is from the Victorian era.
You
where
know
they talk-
what?
oh, the Victorian
Where they
era.
talked kind of wacky.
Yes.
The
That's what I should have
Victorian
told.
era, they were saying, they were using catchphrases you would hear in like 1950s movies. Mind the grease. Like,
That's what we should have said. You'll love this, Josh. We were going to Atlanta and we were in the airport And what's the official name for what the thing you stand on that moves you? Not an escalator, obviously, but up the
moving tram. Walking
See,
tram.
everyone has a different name for
moving
it.
walkway?
A moving walkway.
Yeah.
And there's a man in a leather coat standing right in the middle. And like stand on the right to chill, stand on the left if you want to walk.
Yeah. It actually, a lot of them even say that.
Yes. So this guy's right in the middle. We can't pass him. We're like,
that is
all
a
right.
pet fucking peeve.
Yeah, we're like, whatever. We just got to wait this one out. We finally get to the end. He walks off. Then we walk off. And we start catching up to this guy. I kind of look to my right and catch a glance of who it is just to see who this guy is. William Shatner.
Yes.
Captain Kirk.
By the way,
I should have told him,
never
mind the
minds
grease.
Yeah.
He never minds
I'm
the
like,
grease.
oh, by all means, you
Dude,
could stay
mind the
wherever you want.
goddamn grease, Captain Kirk.
Nose bagger. Ooh.
Nose bag.
Nose bagger?
I mean,
Someone who sniffs Victorian cocaine.
okay.
The nose bagger. Nosy person, maybe?
Yeah,
Maybe that's where that comes
someone
from?
getting in your business.
Yeah.
Someone who can suss out trouble.
Mm.
I'm gonna go a different direction. I'm gonna say a thief.
Oh, a thief in the night.
Yeah.
Kind of. It's actually slang for someone who takes a day trip to the beach and brings his own stuff instead of supporting local businesses.
Wait,
Yep. The old nose bagger.
Oh, God.
By the way, why would you need an expression for that guy? Like,
That was a
that
problem.
is such a weird sort of niche thing that like somebody got pissed off running a local market on a beach because all day long it smells like shrimps and he's like, can't you feel the shrimps?
Somebody cut fingers.
Yeah, someone cut fingers up in here. And then to add insult to injury, this fucking nosebagger comes by with his own picnic lunch. Fuck
His
that
own
guy.
body deodorant.
But mind the grease, you fucking nosebagger.
Now, is it just for beach? Because when I was growing up, my mom would pack her purse with snacks for the movies. So we never bought the stuff at the theater. She would have it in her bag.
Yeah.
You know, was my mom a nose bagger?
I mean,
Well, as long as the movie theater wasn't on a beach, she's fine.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Was she a nose bag? Don't drop a hard ER on my mama like that.
Yeah.
You could be a nose bagger.
Nursing the whole handle.
I hate too when people now it's like people all the movie theater has all of the food, but when someone brings like Chipotle into the movie theater and you got to sit next to that
You
or
gotta smell
behind
it,
that,
yeah.
I'm like, dude, come on, man.
Oh,
leave the Chipotle at home.
that is the worst.
I hate that.
That is truly, that pisses me off. When somebody's got a hot meal from a different restaurant in a fucking movie theater.
That is not
No.
proper movie
No.
theater etiquette, okay?
A hot
And also,
meal.
don't wear nylon when you're in the movie, especially if you're someone who moves a lot,
Yeah.
like doing this the whole time.
No, you
I
had
don't
an
want to hear
incident
that.
like
No.
that. And you,
By the way, I think people who bring popcorn into any of the Quiet Place movies should be banned from all cinema. That is a no-go. I sat next to a dear friend of mine who I work with, and she did it. And I said, you should not be allowed to be in movies. You should not be anywhere near a movie theater.
I was at a theater the other day watching Gladiator 2. And I remember there was a group of like 5, kind of like, it looked as if they fought for a living, right? There was
We call them gladiators.
we call them gladiators. Yeah. I didn't understand the word they were saying. They were speaking
UFC
a different
fighters?
language. They were speaking a different language to each other, but they were loud. When I say loud, I mean like
Can't do it.
full conversations with each other like
Did you
this.
give them the eye?
Well, here's the problem.
Did you give those nosebaggers the fucking eye?
No, I didn't. You know why? Because it was 5 of them, and they
Oh,
looked
yeah,
like
yeah.
they fight.
Oh,
but
yeah.
there was a guy sitting maybe 2 seats over with him and his lady, and at one point, and they were being obnoxious. And at one point, the guy goes, "Shut the fuck up!" And I looked over and I was like, "Oh, you don't tell them to shut the fuck up." I was like, "I get it. I understand. I want to say it, but as I look, I am outnumbered."
And
Right?
what happened?
The guys all get up. All of them get up. And it turns into a whole thing. The lady had her glass water bottle.
Oh, no.
And she was like, "Try me, motherfucker. Try me." And then he was like saying something to her in a different language. And I look at the other guy who's sitting over there. Couldn't have been scrawnier. Couldn't have been. He was like, he would have been broken. And I was like, sit the fuck down.
Yeah.
These guys will kill. And now I'm going to have to stand by and watch. Like I want to help the guy.
No,
but I'm not that dude.
And
No.
all you want is to see how Paul Mescal overcomes his past.
Yes.
To
All I want to see
solidify
is
his
how
future.
Denzel from Brooklyn
It's my favorite. Denzel not giving a shit about the assignment is my fucking favorite part of that movie.
You want to see Rome go down, huh? I like Rome. Why? Because I made it from here to here, sucker.
He's like,
Punk bitch.
But what might you do? What might you do about my brother? I don't know too about my brother.
Fuck your brother. Huh? I'm from Brooklyn. You understand what I'm telling you? I'm from Brooklyn.
Nursing the hoe handle.
Oh,
all right. So this has to do with a prostitute on a beach.
Whoa, don't spill your coffee on the Gad We Trust. Careful. Get that out of there.
And I imagine she stinks based on what you guys have fed me so far.
So she got that shrimp. You can smell the shrimp on her.
She cut her shrimp.
Nursing the hoe handle, but the hoe, remember, that's an old timey like harvesting tool.
Yes,
Those are still around today.
Yeah.
It's not that old.
But I mean, they were created in old time.
Yes,
I would say farming.
Nursing the hoe handle. No, I feel like that's
no. It's got to be metaphorical. For,
yeah. Doing something for too long, or like taking, like you're hogging that eggnog or something.
Is it something to do with an injury? Is it something to do with like a hand injury? Like I don't
when
know.
a hoe just sprained your handle?
You know what? It's taking care of. It's like you keep a harem of kept women.
It just means lazy.
Mother.
It just means, that's what it is. You got all these women doing work for you because you're lazy.
The Victorians were fucking dumb. I'm going to tell you this now. Like, there's no other way to say this politely, but like, I am so glad that I did not grow up when Queen Victoria was in power.
Yeah.
Because these are some stupid expressions.
I don't think I do well with like the puffy collars and all that. Like, no.
No, but like, imagine living in a world in which you couldn't just say lazy, but you would look at just a fucking guy laying on a couch and go, bitch, nursing the hoe handle again.
Yeah, it smells like somebody cut a finger in here.
Yeah.
Fucking
cutting fingers,
bagger.
nursing the hoe handle.
Clean this shit.
Wow.
Mind
These
your
nose
brother.
baggers are ripping me off on the beach.
Oh man. Well, dude, thank you so
Thank
much,
you guys.
bro, for coming.
This
This
has
was so
been
fun.
lovely.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah,
I
this was
appreciate
so
you coming
fun,
here,
man.
man.
Was this even a podcast?
Yes, that's the point.
That's the beauty
we
of
just
it.
start talking when you sit down. And then when we get into the conversation at some point, you know what I mean? You find jewels in there, dude.
Yeah.
The book is called In Gad We Trust,
Yes.
a Tell Some Story, which I love. Dude, I'm looking at the back. Shit, Adam Sandler, Billy Crystal. Holy shit, dude.
I just made all those quotes up. I hope they don't sue me, but
I would actually do that. Because I wouldn't be able to ask someone for a quote.
Yeah,
just
by the way, it was talk about nursing the hoe handle.
Yeah.
I was scared and lazy to like reach out to all of these people and just be like, could you give me like a nice compliment or something?
Was there anyone who don't tell us who, but was there anyone who just said no?
Not a single person.
Wow.
That's awesome.
No, and on the inside of the book, I have a foreword from Sacha Baron Cohen.
Wow.
Holy
A Howard from Ron Howard, and an onward from Mel Brooks.
Wow.
dude.
The Mel Brooks one is really funny.
That's
If you go to the
amazing,
end
dude.
and you read the very last page, read the onward. It's 1 second long and it's pretty great. And I just was like, whatever you want to write before the acknowledgement, right there.
Wow.
Dear Josh, I know I promised you a wonderful blurb for your new book, but after reading it, I find myself struggling to say something nice. If I get a positive thought that's not too destructive, I'll send it along. All the best, Mel.
Oh, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Guy's 98
Wow.
and still cutting a finger.
Oh, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. Man,
Thank you guys. So
thank
much.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Where can everybody find you? Yeah, you're big on social media. so-
I am on Instagram, Josh Gad. I'm on Threads.
Okay.
I don't fuck with X these days.
Mhm.
Hey guys, please like and subscribe. At the end of the month, we're in San Francisco for Sketchfest, so you get tickets there. Also, merch is live at themorningafter.com. See you guys there.
Love you. Mwah.
That was a Headgum Podcast.